Hello, good day everyone. How are you doing? Well, okay, today we are going to work with this new activity. It is a writing activity and it is called Describing Where You Live, right? We are talking about unit number 2E, right? And this is the um, material that you need, not the one that you have in your workbook, but this will replace that material. So in this first chart, what we establish are the targets, the targeted text, the objective of this lesson, and the sources where we extracted all these activities, right? Okay, great. So remember that the writing skill is one of the most difficult skills together with speaking. So you need to take this process consciously and with patience, right? So the first thing we are going to do is to read a text in order to take or to have a model to follow, right? So it says here in activity number 1, read the description and complete it with the words from the list below. And these are the words, right? And as you see, there's one that it is already crossed out because it was used in the text. So let's scroll down and let's go to the text. And the text is called The Place Where I Live. Remember, the first thing you have to do in order to be a strategic reader is to have a look at the text as a whole. So see if you can have pictures or see if you can relate the title to something you already know. See if there are some highlighted words that you have here and see how many paragraphs are in the text and explore it just as a skimming strategy, just reading the text as a whole. So you see that there are highlighted words, that you know the title, and now you will have to read in more detail and complete the text, complete the blank spaces. Maybe a good strategy would be to read it, make a first reading of the whole text so you understand the text, what it is said in the text, and then you complete the text with the words that you have here in this chart. After doing so, it says in activity number 2, match the questions to paragraph 1 to 5. So have a look at the questions. Have a look at the way questions are formed. Ask yourself, is this what we saw last Wednesday? Can I identify the parts of the questions that Adelina told me last Wednesday? So all the activities can be improved, or you can learn more from all the activities. So here you will write the number of the paragraph in which you find the answer for these questions, right? Good. So remember, take advantage of this text so that you can read aloud, you can learn more vocabulary. You looked all the words up in the dictionary, the one that are unknown for you, right? And here it says, this handout replaces the writing section of the book perspective. So we are not going to work with that section because we are working with this. Now, as we always do, we are going to work with vocabulary. And it is so important to enlarge your vocabulary because that will give you the possibility of communicating with others in a proper way, right? So here you have a chart. It says adjectives are used to make our description more vivid and interesting. Circle in the description of the city all the adjectives. Write a list with their meaning and pronunciation. And again, we need to go back to this text and highlight the adjectives. If you doubt if a word is an adjective or a noun or a verb, well, resort to the dictionary, right? And check their meaning and their grammatical category. After that, it says, explore and study the vocabulary to describe places. And here we have a good chart of vocabulary related to the description of places. For example, type of places, location and geographical position, surrounding area, building or places of interest, and adjectives to describe places. Right here you have a lot of words that you can study. You need to know how to pronounce them correctly, right? How to use them, how to, if there are some nouns derived from those words or verbs, right? So check, make a detailed or study these words in detail, right? So that will take you a great amount of time if you do it consciously. Okay, after working with the model, after having a lot of vocabulary, after seeing the structure of this main text, that it has 5 paragraphs, that you know the topic of each paragraph because you worked with this activity. Now, what we are going to do is to have a look at the writing assignment. So you will have to write something, right? And in general, we give you a situation so you know the audience, you know who you are writing to, right? So in this situation, you are participating in a contest because it says, first-year students from the Tecnicatura en Lenguas have been invited to participate in a contest organized by the British Council in Argentina. You must describe your hometown in no less than 150 words, no more than 500 words. The description must include, and pay attention to all these requirements, at least 10 adjectives from the table in activity number 3, and you will have to highlight them in the text. Then your personal appreciation of your hometown. So for this, see paragraph 5 from the sample description above. Then you will have to include a short personal anecdote of your childhood in one of the buildings or places of your hometown depicted in your piece of writing. So remember to use the past simple tense, past continuous tense, used to in this paragraph. Pay attention to the example below. So have a look at this example. I wrote myself this example and it is completely created. It is invented. It was made up by me. Nothing of what is said or written in this text is true, and it doesn't matter because the only thing I want you to do is to practice your language, right? So in one of the buildings that you describe in your description, you will have to tell a short anecdote, right, of your childhood. Please make that anecdote up so you can practice your language, right, and your writing skills. So do you remember that one of the last classes we saw this PowerPoint in which you had to talk about the process writing approach, right? So we are going to, you are going to work with these stages, the pre-writing stage, then you have the drafting stage, the revising stage, the editing stage, and the publishing stage. So go back to this PowerPoint so you can have a look at what we mean by this, right? And now we are going to follow these stages in order to be able to write your description. So the first thing in the pre-writing stage, you will have to brainstorm and gather information. In order to do so, you are going to answer the following questions about your city or your town to plan your description of the city, right? Then you go to the drafting stage. And in this stage, you will have to write your first draft of your description in 5 paragraphs. Do not forget to answer the 5 questions in activity number 2 in the correct order. So go, scroll up. In activity number 2, here you have questions. So these are the questions. All this will help you have a good result, right? It is not compulsory that you follow all these steps, but it is helpful, right? So here you read carefully what you should write in the first paragraph, in the second, third, fourth, and fifth paragraph, right? So all that need to be included in your writing, in your piece of writing. Then revising or proofreading stage. Do you remember that I told you that we will work a lot with this proofreading stage because you are going to be your classmates' proofreaders, right? So you will have to get in groups and interchange your pieces of writing among you. Provide feedback. Always remember positive and negative feedback. If something is okay, it needs to be said that it is okay, right? So I really enjoyed your introduction. I loved the way you described your hometown, right? Try to do that as a first step, and then you provide the corrective or negative feedback, taking into consideration the evaluation criteria described below. Here we have a criteria in which we are going to evaluate your language, the content you include, and the organization of the text, right? So pay attention to that. So you are going to learn how to do this. We do not expect you to be experts in this, but we are expert in giving feedback. So that's the idea. You can do it, of course, in Spanish, and that's great news. That's great news, right? Your writing production needs to be proofread by at least 2 classmates. After receiving your classmates' feedback, revise and rewrite your description. So you need that feedback in order to improve your writing and make changes, right? So once you have all those stages already done, you will go to the publishing stage, and that would be the stage in which you hand in your production. So you will hand your final version in together with your drafts and the feedback provided by your classmates. Specify the name of your proofreaders too, right? So you will have, the deadline is April the 19th via Google Classroom, sorry. But we are going to give you further detail about this. We have a week in the middle in which we are going to talk about this. So don't worry, we are going to give you extra information about all these stages. What we need you to do now is to work on your writing process, right? So read, study the vocabulary, start with the first stages, like pre-writing stages, drafting stages, and revising and editing proofreading stage, right? Then we will have classes and we are going to give you extra information related to the publishing stage, right? Or when you have to hand your piece of writing in. So, well, I hope I've been clear enough for you to do all these activities by yourself or in groups. And if you have further doubts, you know that you can write to us or you can come to consulting hours. So happy writing.